Oh, hey, gentlemen and ladies. Not necessarily in that order. So I was just playing some 2048 and thought, you know what? It's time for another tutorial. Because this game, as it is, it's great. Why? Because we made it. And it's great because we made it. We need the ability... Oh, scary. We need the ability to undo a bonehead move. We're going to make a button, right? Because buttons are cool. We're going to make a button that's going to undo our last move. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of work. Alright. But I don't think it's going to be so bad. So let's check it out. This microphone is probably in the way of everyone. Alright. So, let's have a look here. Alright, so first things first. Let's make a button. And where are we going to put this button? Well, we've got this canvas here, right? This is our HUD canvas, as we so eloquently named it. We have a HUD canvas, and then we have all of our elements in our HUD canvas. So in our HUD canvas, right here, that would be a good place to start. We're just going to right-click, and we are going to say, well, UI, and we want a button. Give us a button. Alright, so now I'm going to select my transform tool, and I'm going to move this button this way, right up here. It's a bad spot, so let's move it over a little further to the right. Okay. I should add that my graphic skills are on point, that this is probably the most pristine button you will ever see in this game. But then again, we're not all graphics artists, so, you know, what do I know? Anyways, here we go with the button. We're not going to change anything, we're just going to keep it as it is. Ugly, white, with some text. And the text, though, you know what? We're going to go ahead and change that because, I mean, we could leave it just to say button because we know what it's going to do. It's going to undo. Undo. Okay, so now our button actually says what it's going to do. So we're going to go into our scripts folder and open up the game script. Here's our game script. So I know you guys remember doing this before. We created a play button, and the play button needed some code. Actually, no, it's the play again button. The play again button needed some code. So what do? We added some code for the play again button to work. So we put that in here, relatively close to the bottom, I believe. Yours may be in a different spot, depending on whether or not you followed my instructions. Or if you decided, you know what, I don't care what this guy says, I'm gonna find the one I made, called play again, which is right here. And in this method, it's just basically saying, hey, I'll do all the things that we need to do to play the game again. Well, outside of that method, we're going to create another method. And we're going to call this one, actually it's going to be a public, remember, because we need to access it from outside the class. So we're going to call it undo. That's pretty cool, huh? So we just called it undo. So now, just to make sure that we're actually getting something back, so here we go. Play. What do you guys think? You think it's gonna work? I'm gonna tell you, nope. What? We didn't say please. Alright, so let's go back. Let's go back to the text. Please undo. Alright, save that. Click play. No? Okay. Alright, well then, let's go to the button, and let's give it what it wants. Obviously, it wants to have an onClick method. So, the list is empty. That's why it's not doing anything. So let's click the plus button here, and then it wants an object. And we could click the circle, and we could scroll through the list of objects, which is so long. And then we can even search for it, but instead of doing that, I'm just going to go up here to the grid game object, and I'm going to just drag that into this empty spot here where it says none. And you'll see that it picked out what it needed. And now we can go to no function, and we can go to game, and we can say undo. Alright, so the reason that that worked, I'm not going to tell you. Or, I'll tell you exactly how it worked, is because the game class that we were just in, the script that we added the undo method to, the game class, is a component of the grid game object. And we can verify this if we click on the grid game object. You'll see that we have the game script attached to it right here. And that's why we chose the grid game object to place onto our list of objects that we can use to call when the onClick handler is called on that game object, the button, the please undo button. Alright. So now, if we press play, and we say please undo, undo pressed, yes. Alright, so perfect. We know that the undo button works. As far as we know, it knows that it's being pressed. So we know that whatever we put in that method, that's what's going to happen when we press undo. I'm going to create a new script. And we're going to call this not a tile. Not a tile is literally just going to have some properties, and it's not going to inherit from mono behavior either. It's going to have a location, and it's going to have a value, and that's going to be an int. Alright. So, let's go to our game class. Here, we're going to create ourselves another my mind is drawing a rather long blank. Oh wait, we're creating a multi-dimensional array. There we go. Alright, and the type of array that we're going to create is going to be not a tile. So this array is going to be filled with not a tiles. And we're going to call this previous grid. Yeah, equals new, not a tile. And we're going to use the same values. So grid width and grid height. What? Alright, god damn it. Sometimes autocomplete is just the worst. Okay. So, we've got our not a tile grid array. So, the reason I create... Okay, so yeah, we're going to use it for storing all of the previous tile locations. So let's say that you're playing 2048 and you press the left button. All the tiles move left. Well, before the tiles move left, we're going to make it so that all the tiles that are currently on the screen, we're going to scan their positions. Yep. We're going to scan all their positions, and we're going to take, for every tile, we're going to create a not a tile object. We're going to pass in the value and the location of the tile that we found, and place it in that position in the array. And then what's going to happen, every time we press a button. So whether we're pressing down, up, left, or right, doesn't matter. Either one of those, any one of those, is going to work. We don't want to wait until after this, so we don't want to put this at the end. We want to put it at the beginning. So, store previous tiles. Store previous tiles. Alright. Now, you might have noticed there's a little red squiggly line. And that's because the compiler's like, yo, you're going to call this method, but it doesn't exist. And that's exactly what the subtext is telling us. It's saying, hey, the name store previous tile does not exist in the current context. And that just means that it can't find that method. So, here's a really nifty trick that I was going to show you guys like forever ago. But if you right-click on this, and there's this little really like out-of-the-way menu that you would have never found on your own. It's called Quick Fix. And hey, look at that. Generate method. What do you think that's going to do? Well, let's see. What? Look at that. It created a whole method for us. it made it private, which is fine, because we're only going to call it from within our own class. And it even added some code. It said throw new, not implemented exception. Alright, that just means that it's going to throw an exception when this method's called, and it's going to say that it's not implemented. And you know what? I'm going to get rid of this, because we are actually going to put our own code in there to do something cool. Alright, so how do we do that? We have to write a for loop. For int x equals 0, x is less than or and then we do x plus y. This, so right, so now we do y equals 0, y is less than or height, y plus. Alright, so here on this screen we're basically just iterating over all the horizontal values on the x-axis. So, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, and we're going up to y, 1, so we do 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. Okay, just mixing up the next, right? So, now we need to get the current tile. Right, so we say, hey, grid, here's a tile. Let's call this transform. We'll call this temp tile equals grid, and just y. Alright, so this is the current transform and then relocation, which is the actual tile. So now we can do new not a tile, not a tile, equals new, not a tile. And basically say not a tile dot location. We did something wrong. So these are supposed to be public. Oh, not pubic. Alright, public. Int. Don't be so bitchy. Alright. Location. So we're going to pass a vector 2, which is the local position. And tile.value equals temp tile dot get component tile dot tile value. And then we assign that not a tile to the not a tile grid. So that'll be in the previous grid. So previous grid xy equals not a tile. Alright. So but before we do all of this, we're going to want to check to see if this is not null. If temp tile like is not equal null, then we'll do this. So the other part is that we need to have a way to actually nullify the previous grid. Since we're already iterating over it, we can just set that to null. So if there is something there, we want to say that there isn't. And then if there is something in temp tile, then we set that to not a tile. Perfect. So this clears the array and fills it with the current values. Right? That's good. Okay. That's a nice little bit of code right here. That does a lot. It does a lot. It stores all of our stuff. So the next part of that is going to be the reverse. We're going to take that out and we're going to put tiles back where they're supposed to be. And that's going to happen in the undo button. So we're going to go down to the undo button, which is right here. And we'll get rid of this part. I'm going to remove debug that actually. Let's just keep that in there and we'll just set the show to false. Alright. The first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to wipe out all the tiles. Okay? Because we're going to wipe them out because we can. Alright. So we're going to do it we'll look over all the children. So remember, because we had children. Game object. Object. Jesus. Jack's got destroy. There. Right. So because what the hell are you playing? It's not a fall. Really? You're like a whole code? So all of the children are gone. So now what we need to do is we need to nullify our grid array. So we're going to go through and for loop. Int x equals 0, x is less than root again. X plus plus, or int y equals 0, y is less than root height, y plus plus. You guys are experts at writing for loops. Okay. So at this point, what we need to do is just say grid xy equals null. So there's nothing at the xy location for the other one. We're going to do the same thing we did with the other one. We're going to utilize this for loop to our advantage. And here we're going to say not a tile equals previous grid xy. And we're going to say if not a tile doesn't equal null, which means that there was something at that position. Then we are going to establish a new tile, obviously. We're going to create a tile. We're going to say game object, new tile, equals game object, we're going to pass that. And we're going to instantiate a new game object, we're going to do resources upload, and we'll let myself a new file name. It's going to be something special. So if not a tile doesn't equal null, we need a tile value. So int tile value equals not a tile value. And then we're going to create a string, and we're going to call this new tile name equals tile underscore plus tile value. Right? So then for the first part of our string here, we're just passing the new tile. New tile name. Right? And we're going to type it is, and it's a type of game object. And for here, we're going to use the location of the tile. So what we need as well is, we'll just call this from here, we'll call it not-tile.location. And finally, we're going to pass it between.entity for rotation. For the parenthesis. Whoa, what's okay. Stop. I don't want anything from you. Alright. So now the thing we're going to do is we got the parent. So we're going to say new tile.parent. Oops. New tile.transform.parent equals this transform, of course. And yep, the last thing we're going to do is, well, this is going to be the last thing. We're going to do grid xy equals new tile.transform. So just to go back over this, so just to go back over this, for int x equals 0, x is less than... Okay, yeah, we're not going to do that. Anyways, in this for loop, we're iterating over all the x and y values again. We're setting the grid xy to null at each run, and at each run we're also trying to get not a tile from our previous grid. And if it's not a tile, if there is something there, we're going to end up in this if statement. And if that's true, we're going to get the tile value. We're going to create a new tile name based on the tile value so that we can create the right tile when we use this method to instantiate a new tile from resources.load, which is the prefabs that we created of all the tiles. New tile name, type of game object, because that's the type it is, the not a tile location, the location that we saved from the tile that it was previously at, the quaternion.identity, which is for the rotation, which we don't care about because all our tiles are rotated the way they need to be. New tile.transform.parent equals transform, and here we're just basically adding it to the transform, which is this, the grid. We're adding this, we're setting its parent, the tile's parent, we're setting that to be the transform, which is this, the game. Alright, so just one more time. For int x. So let's go and play. What happens when we undo now? That's not right. So it removes the tiles, but that's because we haven't made a move yet. So we shall also record the tiles when the game first starts. Either way. Alright, so let's move these two tiles down. So you'll notice that a third tile has appeared. We've got these two tiles over here, so if we press undo, this tile should disappear and these two should go back up here. Perfect! Now if we undo again, we can't because there are no more previous ones. Okay, so we go down again. Now that other two is up here, we got these two again. Undo. Alright, so let's see if we can undo a merge. So remember, there was a 2 here and a 2 here, and this 2 appeared out of nowhere. So now we have a 4. So the 4 should disappear, the 2 should disappear, there should be a 2 and a 2 here when we press undo. Bam. Okay, so our undo button works. There's one thing I want to try. Interesting. Alright, so our score is 4. Our undo does not affect our score, so we literally could cheat. Okay, so let's fix that. Let's go to our game class. And what we'll do, private int previous score. And just because I'm OCD, let's put that below this. And let's also set it equal to 0. Alright, so when we're storing previous tiles, the first thing we'll do is we'll store the previous score. So previous score equals score. I need to add one more thing. We actually need to restore the score. So when we press the undo button, down here at the bottom, undo, the first thing we'll do is we will refresh our score. So we'll do score equals previous score. And then we're also going to call update score. Alright. That should do it. Alright. So we're at 4. Now if we undo. Interesting. Well, it's not wrong, because our score should be 12. Because it's not updating the score, it's updating the score before the merge happens. So we need to update the score after the merge happens. So that's a bug from like way back. Why didn't we catch that before? All right, so let's see where we're calling update score. Update score is called here. Update score. Check and combine tiles. Alright, how about let's see where score is being incremented. Alright. So this is where score is being incremented. So this is where we need to update score. Why are we updating score anywhere but here? Makes no sense. Okay, so now we've got 0. Now we have 4, just like we should. Now if we undo, we have 0. Perfect. Undo, 0, 4. 4, 8, 16. Back to 8. Alright. So our undo button works, except for when we undo and we haven't done anything. It just makes the tiles disappear and the game is over. Alright. So, what we're going to do is we are going to store the previous positions as soon as the game starts. Why can't I never... There it is. Alright, so in the very beginning, we are going to, at start, we're going to store previous tiles. So now if we undo, it should literally just leave the tiles here. What? That's because generate new tile starts a code, and let's just add a boolean. See, that's why I keep telling you guys, there's hundreds of different ways to do things in programming. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. Alright, so, bool, moved, this game. You know what? Let's just make it long. Made first move. False. Alright, and then we're just going to go down to this undo button. And we're going to say if made first move, meaning that that is now true, and that the player has made the first move, then we're going to allow the undo button to function. So we need to set that to true, and we're going to set that to true right here, if not made first move, so that we're not constantly setting it to true, then made first move equals true. There we go. So now we're just going to try that out. Okay, undo. Undo is not working. Alright, let's make a move. Undo. Perfect. You guys are still here? We're done. You can go. This is the end of the tutorial. Not the end of the series. Surely the end of the tutorial. There's nothing more for you to learn today. Enjoy your weekend, for God's sake. Get out and do something. Stop making video. Oh. So that's it. We're done. See you guys next week. Oh, wait. I forgot to say what I was going to say. What I always say. I'm so glad I'm still here, so I can tell you guys. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, or me, because it's just me. Thumbs down if you didn't, but why would you do that? Come on. Be nice. Give me a thumbs up. Follow me. Follow my channel. Follow the work I do. Follow it. Follow. This just sounds so bad. I have followers. Subscribers. Subscribe. Don't follow. Subscribe. Don't follow me. Subscribe to my channel so you can watch what I do and learn from it. And then implement your own methods. Anyways, thumbs up if you liked the video. Thumbs down if you didn't think it was good. Click the bell. Subscribe. Subscribe. Click the bell for, getting notifications and things like that. And I'll see you guys next week.